Hey, my lovely people. Welcome back to A Black Cat's Voice, the podcast. I'm your host, Kat, and I'm here with a brand new episode, more content for your lovely listening ears. Shout out to my day ones. Thank you to everybody who's been here since day one. Thank you to the friends and supporters who have been here since I was making videos on Facebook. Since I was starting, my first YouTube channel. Thank you to everyone who has bought one of my poetry books. I want to share a few updates before I get into the topic real quick. So, for those of you who don't know, I have had the honor of being featured in, a couple more magazines, as well as being honored as a mental health advocate. Like, I'm a featured poet on a website, in another country. So if any of you would like to read my articles as well as check out my poetry, all the links to that is on my website. So I don't just create because, I want people to look at me or read my stuff or whatever. I create because I don't want to be an influencer. I want to make an impact. And so with the words that I write, with even posting every day, like I run all my social media myself, my podcast, my everything, like just by myself, like nobody's helping me with this. So when it comes to certain things and certain time frames, I would like things to be faster or move differently, but when you really gotta do things, like do mostly everything by yourself, it takes a little longer, and that's okay. I'm just being honest and sharing certain things with you all because especially when it comes to the podcast, like I've been working on new content. It's just, I noticed that there's not a lot, but there's a decent amount of things that I would like to correct before I keep putting, more new content on there. So I really got to get a lot of stuff organized and edited and changed behind the scenes. And some of you may be aware or unaware, but some of my older episodes, even some from like years ago, I don't know how they got deleted. So I have to re-upload them to Spotify. And I don't want to have like duplicate episodes on different platforms, so I have to make sure I'm saying what is what. Like it's really a lot to manage, but I'm never complaining about having a lot on my plate when my goal is to eat. You feel me? So I'm saying all that to say there will be a lot of updates and changes, and I'm just thankful for your patience as I figure everything out. So if you want to, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, any of that, all my stuff is under the same name conveniently, A Black Cat's Voice, and that's Cat with a K. And just know that I'm here to heal, and I want you to learn to feel with me. I'm not here to necessarily teach anybody anything. I'm here to teach myself. So if you learn from me, then, you're learning from how I'm teaching myself. But I'm not here to be your teacher or your guide. I'm just happy to help, as I said in my poem. But let's get into today's topic, which I want to call this episode The Best Way to Love. The best way to love, right? So the best way to love, I had to really figure out, and I'm still figuring out in a lot of ways how to love. But one of the best ways I've learned to love is by first loving myself, And when you look at a lot of people in life, that's why they treat people that way. Because when you really love yourself and you hold yourself to a high standard, you don't just talk to nobody any kind of way. Even for me, perfect example, if I get in an argument, and it's very rare that I argue with people, especially if I'm not dating you, but if I get into an argument with somebody, right, which I really try not to, I don't need to demean you to prove my point. Even if we have conflict and I feel like we can't maintain a relationship, a friendship, or whatever the case may be anymore, I don't feel the need to disrespect people and bash them and make them feel like they're the worst person in the world. because of how I love. I love myself to where I remember how I was talked to, in moments of anger. I remember how I was treated, in moments where I was still growing and loving. And that's why I practice so much compassion, because I have a lot of compassion for people, because I could see in the way that you treat other people, it's because you don't love yourself. And when you really love yourself, you don't treat people any kind of way, plain and simple. Like for me, I'll never say I don't make mistakes. I ain't yelled at somebody. I ain't cussed somebody out. Because especially if y'all knew me back in the day, child, wait a minute, okay? But I have a lot of growth because I do so much work on myself. I don't need to ridicule anybody. I don't need to agitate or try to antagonize anybody just because we don't agree with each other. You know? And what I really had to learn that hurt me but helps me in so many ways is that just because I may love myself and hold myself to a high regard, that don't mean that's for everybody. you know? And I really believe the problem with a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships, even a lot of family dynamics is not that people don't know how to love, but that their love does not translate. Like if you wake up and talk to your husband crazy every day, you talk to your mom crazy every day. When I come and try to be friends with you and I'm like, yo, I don't like you talking to me like that, I'm a feel like, whoa, like this, you might be a bad friend because you don't even know how to talk to me, right? Versus this person will feel like, no, my husband and my mom knows how much I love them and I talk to them like this all the time, you know? So it's just like, people love from a place in which they love themselves, because even in these instances, right, where I'm explaining how somebody can talk to the people they see more frequently in their life a certain manner and believe that someone outside of that is going to deal with that. That's crazy. Like, love feels different to different people because we all have different experiences. And if your love does not feel like love to me, why do I have to keep forcing it? I feel that way for everybody. It's just like, I was friends with somebody for a very decent amount of time, right? Like one of my closest friends. Like it really, really hurt my heart. Like y'all, I cried for days, y'all. Because y'all that know, if y'all been through this, friendship breakups be hurting just like a relationship, if not worse. That it'd be like, oh my God, like you feel like somebody stabbed you in your heart because it's just like, even though you may not be my partner, I still planned a life with you. I still spent time with you. I still shared secrets with you. And no matter how hard I went to love this person, I'm talking treating this person like they was my blood family, it was still never enough because the moment I needed to address not liking, how they talked to me or how they handled, something I let them use, whatever the case may be, it was hell. All hell broke loose. The person just started trying to read me from top to bottom, telling me how they felt about me. And then the whole thing was like, if you felt this way about me, then you should have just never been around me. Why do you want my love so bad? And why do you want my friendship so bad? If you don't feel that mutually for me, you could have just, you could have just not been here. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's not what love is. And when you understand love, you understand that it's not forced. I don't have to sit here and force myself, to like you or to want to be around you. And for me, I give everybody the free reign, even in my relationships. I always will say, if you ever feel like you don't want to be here, please go. Because I don't need nobody, feeling sorry for me or pretending to love me because I didn't had too much of that already. I didn't had best friends watch me get to the top peak of my life, and hate on me. I didn't have family members sit around me and watch me struggle, watch me go through hell, and bounce back from sickness, from everything, and still try to hate on me, still try to take things from me, still trying to dim my light. I didn't have a partner who, this person, I didn't even realize, you didn't really love me. You loved the fact that I was so young that you felt like I could I could be turned into whatever it was you wanted instead of actually just loving me for who I am. And I realize that's the problem in a lot of scenarios, is that a lot of people's love don't translate because you don't really love that person, you love the idea of them. You know, because when you really love people and when you really care about people, you do not treat them a certain kind of way. I don't care what anybody says. We could all have moments of mistakes, but you are not consistently and actively trying to tear down somebody you love. It don't make no sense. You know, like I'm in my family, right? I'm the family member that real life don't show up no more, you know? And a lot of my family has not seen me in years. You know, like they will literally be, yo, is Katie okay? My family calls me Katie because, you know, those are my initials. But my family literally has not seen me in years because it's just like that love don't feel like love to me. You know, I might love you with all my heart, and I do, and I always will love all my family with all my heart. If I'm ever in a position to help them and it won't hurt me, I won't hesitate because that's my family. I'm loyal. But if your love don't feel like love to me, I don't have to force myself to be around you. I don't have to force myself to try to have a relationship or a connection with you. And it extends to everybody. But I only learned this once I learned to love myself, you know? Because when I didn't love myself, I was settling for so many things and people that I knew didn't feel like love. You know, why was I in a relationship where I didn't feel understood or safe by my partner? You know, why was I always going around, you know, a family dynamic where I feel like an outcast? You know, where I feel like the joke, I feel like the outsider, no matter any time I come around, no matter how much or how little. You know, why am I going to force myself to be in a friendship with somebody who I can't even tell you, you know, that, hey, you know, I didn't like how, you know, you said this, or I didn't like how you did that. Because for me, I'm not a perfect person. I love for my friends and people in my life, please tell me if something I'm doing is hurting you or agitating you, because I don't ever seek to hurt nobody. I leave people alone, you know? So if whatever I'm doing is not making you feel good, let me know. You know, and vice versa. If I can't have a conversation with you without you trying to read me from top to bottom, or trying to say, you know, trying to, a lot of the times too, you can try to have an open and honest conversation with somebody and they'll either try to deflect, or a lot of narcissists will try to just flip the scenario back to you as if you did something by just even having feelings, you know? And I'm just saying all this to say that the best way to love is by loving yourself. You know, how you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you feel when you by yourself. If other people don't make you feel like that or better, then you don't need to be around them. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. A lot of y'all, and myself included, need to learn how to be alone. I had to learn how to be alone. You know, I had to learn that the more I love myself, the more I really cared and set standards for myself. I didn't know it was going to be this lonely, you know? But I also didn't know it was going to be this freeing and this beautiful, to not have to feel like I have to try to earn somebody's love, you know? Because the people that love you, they're never going to make you feel like you got to earn their love. They're never going to make you feel like, you know, you're the butt of the joke, or you got to force yourself to be there. It's just going to flow naturally, because that's what love is. It's so natural, you know? So if you are still learning to love yourself, as we all are learning to love ourselves on deeper levels, know that it's okay. But pay attention to them people you got in your life. I don't care if it's your family. I don't care if it's your coworkers. I don't care if it's your closest friends. You need to pay attention to how people treat you, because if that don't translate to how you treat them, if you don't feel like your love is reciprocated, then know that you staying there and trying to make them love you is not going to make it happen. You know, you can't force nobody to love you. Either they want to and they're going to do it, or they're not. They're not. That's just the truth about life. And know that it's okay. Some people are not going to love you. You're not going to be everybody's vibe, and that's okay. That's okay, you know? But just please, please remember that even if other people don't love you, you gotta love yourself. You always gotta love yourself, because that's the most important relationship that you need to have and to hold, is the one you have with yourself. That's it. The one you have with yourself. You know, everything else will be a reflection of that. Because if you have a toxic relationship with yourself, every relationship in your life will be toxic. You know? The best way to love is to really learn what feels like love to you, and make sure that other people either make you feel that way or better every time, because that's what love is. And before I end this episode, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who supports. You know, y'all follow me on social media, Instagram, TikTok, my YouTube channel, all under A Black Cat's Voice. That's Cat with a K. You know, if you want to check out my poetry collections, I have 4 books available right now on my website, so please check them out. And you can see my journey of how I've had to learn and am still learning to love myself. And I know that's okay. I know that's okay, because we are all learning the best way to love. And I just want to end this episode by saying, not only be good to yourselves, please be good to yourselves, but thank you for listening.